we are here in the hot seat. This is Donovan Sadiq and mean Sean 14. We're back to give you an update on what's going on in Moreno Valley politics. And we are here with mayor candidate Daryl Peeden. And he wanted to come and join us, but that's because he promised he was going to come on the hot seat before the election started. He kept his promise, so I got to give him that.
Yeah, a lot of candidates haven't.
And then we have school board candidate in the audience. Daryl is here, the originator of Hire Moval. And as usual, he's come down to Starbucks to join us. And if you guys are interested, we are on the Starbucks on Frederick Street, and you are welcome to come down and have a macchiato with us, a cup of coffee, and just join in the conversation. So, mean Sean 14, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm hanging in there. So you got the call from the Peedens, and it's really hard to tell these guys apart because they are twins. But Daryl, how you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Hey, man, we're doing really good. The topic of the week, I would say, would be the candidate forum.
Yeah.
And that was very interesting. We put the video up. We were the first ones to do that, to show how goon tactics are used to usurp elections and attack certain candidates that might be a serious threat. And this guy's been doing this now for a couple of years. So how's the campaign going?
Campaign's going well. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah.
The campaign's going well. You know, we don't talk too much about our campaign and the progress that we're making. But all I can say is that the campaign is doing well, and we're extremely excited about the future of Moreno Valley, and we're excited about the impact that we're making in our campaign.
Awesome. Now, we saw the videotape, and we saw how, for some reason, we're there at a candidate forum to introduce our ideas and talk about different things other than this WLC madness and warehouse madness. But it seems like Ito always sends these people to dominate forums to talk about his project and what he's doing, and it makes it a WLC referendum. Now, would you guys be in agreement that the WLC is over? The WLC wars are over, and it's up to the courts now.
Well, I think I would counter that and say absolutely not. I think that it's not just up to the courts. I'm a firm believer that we need to keep our focus on our economy here and our economic development as well as our future economic development. I mean, the World Logistics Center is not going to be built for 15 years.
Yeah, and I have to agree that it's not over because keeps making it all about making everything in the city about the World Logistics Center. He's making it a stumbling block for every other project and every other policy in the city still.
Yeah, I think we have to realize that, when we talk about, a lot of folks, and I even heard it during the candidate forum, that trying to make these, accusations or kind of trying to point out our campaign as being a one-issue campaign. And what I'd like to say, and just like I said at the candidate forum, is that, the World Logistics Center and this warehouse economy is not a one-issue sort of thing, and it's certainly not a one issue with our campaign. Everything leads back to our economic development. So it is our goal, and to make sure that we express that our economic development leads back to everything in terms of poverty, educational attainment, tax revenue, crime, and everything else. I mean, everything in policy leads back to economic development, and we know that our city has primarily pulled its resources and priorities to this logistic hub in town. And we have to bring attention to it, and we have to think about how that's impacting our
I think that's fair. One question that I want to ask myself, and I want to ask you guys, and I ask myself all the time, why do I get up every day and do this? And so when I ask myself that question, one of the main reasons I get up and do what I do is because of where I live. I live in the Edgemont neighborhood. Everybody knows my story, and and nobody's against me in being a little upset at what my situation is. So I want to ask you as a candidate, what makes you get up and fight and every day and just go through this process?
I think when you get to a point where you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, there's been people that have come around and have mentioned that Daniel and I are from white privilege. That's certainly not true. I mean, I can count the years that I've been homeless, not living on the streets, but not having a secure home. My parents got divorced when I was really young. We were, I think, 8 years old or something my parents separated, and we were bouncing from place to place, living with my grandparents, living with my dad, and moving back down with my mom, and then moving with my sisters.
So no permanent address?
No, yeah. So, right, the other definition of homelessness.
Yeah.
As an adolescent, going through high school, being from the Inland Empire, and knowing the reality that, you know, if you're born poor in the Inland Empire, you're more likely to stay poor. And so this campaign, and what wakes me up every morning, is to realize, because I have the realization and I understand that everybody doesn't have the same opportunities. And we can sit back and complain. We can sit back and yell from the mountaintops and play on Facebook, or we can get up and go do something. And so this is my way of getting up and going and doing something. And I'm fully committed to it. I mean, we've sacrificed this entire year to this cause, and making sure that we do everything in our power to make a difference. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all going to be judged for how we make a difference in people's lives. And I certainly want to make sure that we have an impact.
Okay. Yeah. Sean, do you have anything? I don't want to dominate the question because I have a whole list.
Yeah. I know personally, I'm sick of dealing with the World Logistics Center. Sick of the people that are running it. I'm sick of hearing about what they're doing in their personal lives. Mainly, I just want to make sure that they, if they want money to build these projects, I want to make sure they go to a bank. If a bank that specializes in construction loans and someone that specializes in that form of venture capitalism says it's a good project, then so be it. But if the banks won't touch it, why should we have to give them bond money or anything for this project? And but my big concern now is the social issues. Like, I've been talking a lot about substance abuse, homelessness, and mental health, and even now arranging to make sure that felons can find a decent job too. And also we've talked a lot about the past bonds and other funds being diverted into infrastructure projects in the eastern part of the city for Highland Fairview projects. And what would you guys do to make sure that doesn't happen? And also, furthermore, what would you do to address some of those social issues that tend to undermine the stability of our community?
Again, I think that the root cause we have to be. Our campaign is not about these band-aids, right? It's about attacking the root causes. So many times politicians get involved in local politics throughout the region, the 12th largest region in the United States of America, and their toolkit is band-aids, right? And we're not interested in that. We're interested in making sure we attack the root causes. I believe firmly that the root causes are economic development. In 2015, our unsheltered veteran homeless that were our veterans, there were 3 of them, right, that were counted. It shot up 100% to 6, right? These are unsheltered, right? So it's very difficult to count the sheltered homeless, right? People jumping from one place to another. It's easier to count the unsheltered, and it may have jumped from 100%, obviously, from 3 to 6 that are homeless, but it's inexcusable for veterans and people that fight for our rights and that put their lives on the line for us as Americans to be homeless. And so where are our leaders? I think this goes back to the reality that our city council, they're more or less followers, and we need leadership. We need leadership with an imagination, and to understand that we have a problem in this community with these social issues. One being homelessness, for sure. I mean, without a doubt. And so when they vote on these economic policies, that a few days ago, a report came out that the PM 2.5 pollution is killing 808 people.
Correct.
Why aren't we talking about this? There's also a report, academic research, that suggests that diesel particulates are costing the Eastern Inland Empire roughly $500 million a year in mortality and morbidity rates. So why aren't we talking about this? Instead we just allow buddy-to-buddy relationship between leadership or city council and developers, and they just continue to do what they do by they siphon off the public purse and continue to benefit, while we're all out here, saying, "Hey, what about us?
Right? What happened?
Where's our museum?"
How would you go about implementing new services?
Say that one time.
How would you go about implementing new services to address the homelessness, substance abuse, and mental health and stuff? We've got there's lots of churches around that I would like to see start helping out with like AA and NA type programs, but What about getting a county mental health office or getting other services available in this city that are all around us but not in the city?
Right. So Rio Valley is one of the top 150 largest cities in the United States. These services are crucial, and we need them. I mean, we're over 200,000 people in the population. We need to do these things, right? These are obvious things that we need to do. I don't think there's anything that, I mean, obviously there's some things that we can, innovate and things like that to produce specific services for substance abuse, mental illness, and all these kinds of things. So we need to work closer with the county and provide those services within our city. In addition, it comes back to just changing our economy from getting the tax base to uplift, to provide people with upward mobility and true opportunities. To be honest with you, I just had a blank in my mind. So.
Right. I have a question that a lot of people were messaging me about and asking me. Now, during the debate, I want to get this debate stuff explained for the people that saw the video, and some of the video was missing because the battery ran out, whatever the situation was. But Dr. Janice Fleming was shaking her head when you made the comment that you are the only person up there that has a degree in public policy. Now, I happen to know you have that degree. And, could you just tell us a little bit about your background? And like I said, I've watched you guys, for the last couple of years, how you guys ran Corey Jackson's campaign. And you guys lost supposedly by 7 votes, which I still, to this day, do not believe. Right. So you guys do know what you're doing when it comes to campaigns. And, you guys study it. And you guys know policy. So that means government, and, you know how to do things. Right. To just give us a little background on your degree and and your philosophy on that.
Well, Donovan, before that, let me go back to what Sean was talking about.
Motorcycle.
One of the things I wanted to mention was that the nonprofit sector in the Inland Empire, as well as Moreno Valley and the support system as well as the infrastructure for our charitable organization is lacking here. There's a very limited amount of support here in the Inland Empire, and I think right off the bat we need to make sure that we provide a solid infrastructure for our charitable organizations to do the charitable work that would help tremendously in those kind of social issues. I mean, I know for the nonprofit that we co-found, the Single Man Design, we mentor at-risk youth, right, 300 to 400 youth throughout the region. So we take at-risk youth and that are struggling that are going to drop out, or suspension rates and all these kinds of things, and we provide them a social service to get them on track, to get them in a position where they can succeed in life. So this is the work that a nonprofit organization is doing, and there's not just us. There's so many organizations that are providing great services, but they lack the resources in order to provide those services at a larger scale. So I'd like to see us take our charitable organization infrastructure a little bit more serious, and but I think that all ties back to our economic plan in terms of small business development and what we're going to do in terms of community wealth building.
Okay.
It's your show. So
and I agree with that, but let me twist it around a little bit. Now, you're running for mayor. You're fairly a young guy, but and when I mean young, I mean you're in your 30s. 34. Which is mature enough, and you're a family man, which is good. I got a lot of experience being in the community. So my question is this. Now, I'm from Edgemont, and none of the candidates to me, you can't not run for mayor and not have a plan for the most underdeveloped part of the city, which is where I live. Now, a lot of candidates are going to use the excuse, well, the water problem and stuff like that. If there wasn't a water problem...
Oh, yeah, didn't the main just break?
Right, there was another main that just broke.
Really?
But if there wasn't a water problem, what would be your vision for that area of the city? Because no candidate's talking about 5,000 people sitting over there living in a third world country.
Right, so we know Edgemont, right off the bat, 50% of the population in Edgemont are unemployed. Okay. Some of the worst pollution that Moreno Valley has is right over Edgemont. Edgemont suffers from the worst, in terms of impacts, whether that be pollution, unemployment, poverty, these sort of things, educational attainment, all the things that obviously I'm sure you're more than aware of.
Yeah, my neighborhood, nice.
So what do we do? I think that, I don't have a specific plan specifically for Edgemont, but more or less the entire economy. I think right off the bat, we can no longer keep ignoring Edgemont. When we're developing our plans and going forward as a city, we have to understand what Edgemont is lacking, and we have to develop it.
What would you think about using eminent domain to fix the water system and the rest of the utility systems in Edgemont?
Look, it's my firm view that if private corporations are not doing their job, then it's the job of our government to step in and make sure that they do their job.
Correct.
I'm not one to just throw around eminent domain just for the sake of throwing it, right? That's serious business, right?
Right, absolutely.
Talking about that sort of thing. It's not something that we should just be, I don't believe in that sort of thing. But I do believe that people in Edgemont and people in the Moreno Valley as a whole, there's basic human rights. And I think clean water and a decent water infrastructure is part of that human rights that the folks should be benefiting from. And if the private corporation of their Rock Spring Water Co. is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then the city needs to take a serious look at that and needs to intervene. I mean, bottom line, that's one of the first things that we'll be doing. Now, in terms of economic development, when you're looking at all the poverty and everything that Edgemont is suffering from, I mean, we have to develop Edgemont. I mean, I think everybody's saying that, right? But what happens when they get on the council, they don't do anything about it because they don't have a plan. Community wealth building is all about uplifting impoverished communities. I can tell you right now that, most people want to tell me that we don't have any resources. There's no resources.
Right, I hear that all the time.
Without Highland Fairview, there's no resources. There's plenty of resources, but it's also about being about resources. It's also about being resourceful. Many people may not know, but I don't know if you guys are familiar with EV5. You guys
Yes.
know anything about EV5?
Yes.
With just the research that I've done, and I've had to get off my my computer and all the research that we're doing since the campaign started, so I've been lacking in that area. But this goes back to your earlier question about what involves in terms of studying public policy. Well, studying public policy is all about, it's really just a lot of statistical analysis, data crunching, but also looking at policies that our local levels, local municipalities as well as our region are producing, and analyzing those policies, evaluating them, and coming up with policy alternatives. These are the kind of things that I'm very passionate about. I'm an entrepreneur, so I like to look at problems and figure out what these solutions are. EB5 is one of those things that we can tap into. We're a targeted employment area. A foreigner can get an American visa with investing $500,000 into a targeted employment area through a regional center, and that they will get their visa if that investment produces 10 jobs, indirect or direct jobs. We can use this sort of investment. The Inland Empire has the highest concentration of regional centers in the nation, right?
Right.
Where do you think these investments are going? Just guess. Warehouses.
Right. Okay.
That's a problem. The reality of it is developers are running our cities, and we need leadership. We need people to realize, look, these are the things that are available, and we know what to do with them. We don't need a developer telling us what to do with them. We know what to do with them. And I think EB5 may be a great way, a tool that we can decrease our unemployment rate through permanent living wage jobs and not temporary employment.
I'm with that.
But, you guys got to stop me because I just keep going.
Well, it's a good thing you brought that up because we're going to go ahead and take a break. We are over here at the Starbucks on Fredericks, and we are with Daryl Peeden, candidate for mayor of Moreno Valley. And we've got me and Sean 14 who has to run
I've got to run.
And do some stuff. So, Sean, we're going to catch you out next week, and we'll be right back after this message.